Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and this is our WWE show for the week. Now before we get into this, I just want to mention, I thank you guys for doing that. Last week there wasn't any shows. Unfortunately, I came down with a pretty bad case of food poisoning. Needless to say, I wasn't in any condition to be shooting anything. And I appreciate those of our friends out there that hit me up on social media, wondering where the shows were and wondering if I was okay. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for your support. It shows me that you're actually watching, that you actually care, that you're actually paying attention, and I do appreciate that. But I'm going to go right into the show. Don't want to dwell on that topic too much. Trust me, I had plenty enough of it. We're going to go into the so-so segment. Basically, the stuff that's not bad, not good, it was just there. First off, Zack Ryder versus Rusev. I don't get it. I really don't. I'm not getting the Rusev character. The match wasn't horrible. The interaction with Big E after the match wasn't bad. I like them setting up a feud between the two. But you continue to bury a guy like Zack Ryder who can get over without any help, but you're pushing the crap out of a guy like Rusev that the fans couldn't give two shits about. I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. Coming off of that, we had the segment with Stephanie McMahon and Daniel Bryan. Will she take the title? Will he give it up? She left with an ultimatum of either he surrenders on the pay-per-view or Brie Bella loses her job. I think they're just going to keep dragging this out till he can actually wrestle again. I don't see... If they would have stripped him, they would have stripped him by now, in my opinion. But I could be fooled. I mean, it has happened before. It'll happen again. Next up, we have Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio. It just didn't do it for me. If you remember late in 2012, these guys feuded for quite a bit, and I actually enjoyed their matches then. This match, just something was missing. Sheamus is in desperate need of a tweaking of his gimmick. He's gotten really stale. Alberto Del Rio seems to be in limbo. They don't know if he's a mid-carder. They don't know if he's a main eventer, which is a shame. I think Alberto Del Rio, once he steps inside the ring, is one of the most talented wrestlers they have on the roster. Now, he's not that great at promos. He's passable, and a lot of people dislike him because he was pushed too early, just like Sheamus. However, I think if you just look at a body of work, once he steps in the ring, the guy is fantabulous, which I don't know where that word came from, but he's just a great wrestler, and I hate that he's kind of stuck in limbo with, and a lot of people are. I think a little bit has to do with the combining of the belts. A little bit has to do with the even further back, the brand separation no longer being in effect. You got some guys that are not necessarily in feuds or just there on the show to fill space, which is a shame. Last but not least, in the so-so segment, the ever-predictable contract signing between the Shield and Evolution. Of course, it leads to a fracas. Evolution gets the upper hand when Triple H gets the sledgehammer. It's so predictable and so passé at this point. It's like the GM role. It's like the beginning of the show role. The heel GM, the contract signing. This stuff is so predictable and so passé. I just wish that they could be more innovative with the last 20 minutes of the show. Just my opinion. Next up, we're going to go right into the bad segments, the stuff I didn't like at all. Speaking of the end of the show, we're going to talk about the beginning. We have Stephanie McMahon and Triple H coming out, basically calling out Brad Maddox as to what he did last week, letting the Shield be on commentary, even though he was coerced into it. They end up firing Maddox, which brings out Kane to do their dirty work, proving that Stephanie can control the monster, which Daniel Bryan brought up. I forgot to mention that earlier. Just to me, it was a wasted segment. Maddox is barely even on TV. He has no power. The power is Triple H and Stephanie. There's no reason for his role. I mean, it's just silly and stupid to me that they even drag it. I think Maddox actually is a tremendous talker. I don't think he's that bad a wrestler either. I'd like to see him showcase. Maybe they put him in with somebody, let him manage somebody or become, just a wrestler himself. But, I don't know. Just, to me, it was stupid. He began the show bad, ended it not much greater, so the middle parts kind of lacked it as well. Next up, we have Eva Marie versus Summer Rae. I hate that I have to put this in the bad area because I like that they're focusing more on the divas and we're getting more feuds, not just the feud for the title, we're getting actual other feuds. We have Summer and Eva feuding off of stuff that's happened on Total Divas, which also Summer's in a feud with Fandango and Layla right now. They come out, kiss on the stage, it distracts Summer enough for Eva to get the roll up. It was just a bad match, and I don't know. To me, I love Layla. Layla doesn't seem to fit with Fandango, whereas Summer Rae seemed to fit perfectly with him. And maybe that's why I'm not liking the interaction between them so much. Eva Marie, she still has a long way to go in ring. I like the fact that every time I see her, she is getting better. I appreciate that. I agree. I don't think, for those of you that watch Total Divas, and I do, I watch it, I don't think she's as, bitchy or bad of a person as they make her out to be. On the first season, they kind of gave her the role of the outcast outsider that nobody liked because she was starting shit, which that role now has gone to Summer Rae and seems to be what they're giving the new person. Next year it'll probably be Eva Mendes. But to me, this was just a bad match and bad segment altogether. And another one, probably my least favorite part of the night. There are a few things every now and again that you see that embarrass you to be a wrestling fan. And this was one of them. El Torino versus Drew McIntyre. You got a guy who at one point Vince McMahon said is the chosen one to be the next generation superstar. Fabulous ring worker named Drew McIntyre. And you have him losing a comedy gimmick match to and I don't know if this is a politically correct term. If it isn't, I'm sorry if I offend anybody. To a midget in a bull costume. And that's not even the angle. The angle is the midget in the bull costume's tail gets pulled off by the midget dressed up like a rocker to continue probably one of the worst feuds that I've seen in a long time. I mean, I get it. I'm okay with midget wrestling. I love midget wrestling. I think there's fun. It's good. It's cool. There are certain things, but this is just cheesy. This whole thing, this feud has gone on way too long. Now they're going to have a match at the pay-per-view, mask versus hair. I don't know. To me, it's just bad. The way that they're writing it's bad. And it's not that it's a midget or midget's wrestling, because I do like it. I mean, I do like midget wrestling. If anybody knows me in real life, they know I love the Micro Championship Wrestling show they did. But to me, it's just, I don't know. The writing is so bad on it that it's hard to give a crap about it. Now, last but not least in the bad segment, I really hate to put this here. We have Davey Crockett, a.k.a. Damien Sandow. I'm not even going to start on how badly they're using one of the best talents they have in the company. A guy like Damien Sandow who could absolutely go in the ring, who could talk his way out of anything. One of the best all-around talents, and you're going to give him shit like this against Adam Rose, who I am a fan. As you can see, I'm wearing the Adam Rose t-shirt. I loved what he did in NXT. I think they're not capitalizing properly on it in WWE as of yet. I don't think. I like his feud he's doing with Swagger. To me, the second I seen Davey Crockett, I could give a crap if he was wrestling Mick Foley, my absolute favorite wrestler of all time. I was going to shit all over this. And this, it was just bad. I mean, and I like Adam Rose. I like Damian Sandow. I'm a fan of both the guys. This match just didn't do it for me. I didn't give two craps about it. Swagger came out. The only thing interesting is Rose, fighting off Swagger. I'm excited for that match. I want to see Adam Rose versus Jack Swagger. I think they're going to have a fantastic match. The stupidity and to me, when the WWE tries to do comedy, they fail so badly. It's so pathetic. They'll hit and something will be funny 1 out of every 10 times. The only things that have really caught on that have been hilarious are stuff that the workers themselves did. DX, Vince McMahon was against at first. He didn't want them doing that. Stuff that Stone Cold did, he did on his own. Stuff that The Rock did, The Rock's charisma did that on his own. And so on and so forth. When they force the comedy, they just don't do it right. And I wish they would stop, and I wish either get better writers for it or don't do it at all. Because it's pathetic. Now we're going to go into our question of the week. The question was, and this is actually from 2 weeks ago, since we didn't have a show last week, there was talk of the reunion of the Nation of Domination. What faction would you like to see come back? First is up from our friend Benjamin Me. Hey Heel Heat, for this week's question of the week, I'd like to see the Hart Foundation or something similar return. I think it had 5 talented wrestlers, all talented enough to compete for all titles. Pillman was an amazing promo guy, and they divided opinion. Hated in America, loved in Canada, which was a massive story that involved most of the roster. Maybe they could work a program where Brett returns to restart the foundation and recruits wrestlers he feels can represent Stampede wrestling style, which is better than the WWE product. I absolutely love the idea. I thought the Hart Foundation didn't, and we know why. We know the screw job is why it eventually was gone, but I thought they were a great heel group, and I agree. Everyone in there, maybe with the exception of Neidhart, could have been a world champion, in my opinion. Or an Intercontinental champion, or a tag team champion. You had 5 fantastic wrestlers, and they worked so well together. And something today, you can do a similar thing. Like you said, Brett could come back, could bring in David Hartsmith again. Got Tyson Kidd's already there, Natalia's there. Some other people that have been trained in the Hart family dungeon. Maybe Chris Jericho comes back as the de facto leader. A whole lot of ways you could go with it, and I like the idea. This is from our friend Dizzle Pup. He puts, I miss factions and the element of the turf warfare it brings to WWE. I'd possibly like to see the Evolution evolve with a Barrett or a Rhodes or someone from NXT with a real mystery factor joining along with a diva. Any faction should have a diva in it. I agree, that's a good idea. I think some of the best have. Maybe Flair could make a huge deal of handpicking and reforming the Horsemen. All in all, I agree with what Benjamin Me says. A strong faction needs to have the members who can make a run for a title. I think they're forming a faction here, both of them ganging up with the same opinions. I like his suggestions. A 4 Horsemen reincarnation would be good, with maybe a Flair and Arn Anderson managing, or even both. I agree that Evolution adding a new character would be great, especially with the rumors that Batista will be gone for a little while. It could be something really cool and really worthwhile going forward. Next answer is from our friend AUP1 at AUP116 from Twitter. Question of the week: a Dungeon of Doom likeness of weird wrestlers, Big Show, Muscle, Sandow, Breakout, and 3MB, or just call them the Union Part 2. Alright, so kind of a Dungeon of Doom oddities, kind of weird gimmick. I think it would work. I think, give guys something to do that aren't doing anything. And you're going to see the more you put storylines on the characters, and this is why I think in the Attitude Era and previous eras, the 80s specifically, the Attitude Era, the New Generation Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, was if you looked up and down the card, everybody had feuds. Everybody had a gimmick, everybody had a feud, everybody had a reason they were on the show. Nowadays, you just get, okay, we have Sheamus at the taping, so Sheamus is wrestling Del Rio. What's that? We have Rob Van Dam and Drew McIntyre. Okay, put them in a match. With no rhyme or reason. No character development behind it. So if you could put a bunch of guys that they're not doing anything with in a goofy stable, like he said, it's better to put them in a crap stable. 3MB gets more notice than if you were to split the three actually really good wrestlers apart and they were on their own just doing basically what they do with Zack Ryder. Sorry, it just brain fart there, folks. But getting to the point, in my opinion, on what I'd like to see come back, I'd love to see a return of the Dangerous Alliance. I'd like to go back to the days when a manager manages several different wrestlers, not just one or two. Heyman has 1.5 with Cesaro and sometimes Brock Lesnar when he shows up. I think he's such a good talent and such a good heel. You could add some to that, maybe bring up a team like the Ascension, have him manage a tag team as well. If you look at the Dangerous Alliance, he had 5 wrestlers that he managed. Arn Anderson, Rick Rude, Larry Zbyszko, Bobby Eaton, and Stunning Steve Austin. Yeah, that was it. And Medusa. So every one of them at one point had some kind of a title. It made the faction better. It made him look better. He made them look better. They all made Austin look better, who was the guy that was getting the rub from being in the faction with all these, at that time, either guys that were legends or at the top of the game at that point. Larry Zbyszko was already a legend. Arn Anderson was already a legend. Rick Rude and Bobby Eaton were legends, and Rude, Eaton, and Arn Anderson still were at the peak of their career or very close to it. Larry Zbyszko a little bit, he was a little bit more towards the end of his, but he fit in perfectly with the group. I think a return of a Dangerous Alliance, like I said, with the goofy thing, you give a bunch of guys something to do that aren't doing nothing. Throw in a Sandow, throw in some other people, and make it good. Now, coming off of that, our question of the week for this week is there have been rumors that 4 major independent or outside of WWE talents are coming into the promotion. Which of the 4 are you most excited for? We have Kenta, Kevin Steen, Prince Devitt, and Willie Mack. 4 major wrestlers that have made their names on the indie circuits and across the world, all reported to have signed or close to signing WWE contracts. Who are you most excited to see coming in? Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. Put it down where? Down there in the comments. Right down there. And hit like, too, while you're at it. And share as well. Now we're going to go on to the good section. This is the part I actually talk about what I like. I like the match with Cesaro and Rob Van Dam. I think their styles match up very well. The matches they've had have been very good. Cesaro picking up the win, it led to Wade Barrett coming out and Bad News Barrett and Sheamus furthering their angles with their feuds. I think both those matches, both those feuds going forward, I'm going to enjoy. I thought this was a great match. I love the style clash between Cesaro and Rob Van Dam. Next up, we had the Wyatt family promo, which led to them going to attack Jerry Lawler, which brought JBL out, who caught a very vicious-looking clothesline from Luke Harper for his troubles. They go to beat up they go to take out Lawler for being such a John Cena supporter and telling everybody lies that John Cena is a great guy and all that. I love the angle. I love the fact that Cena came down, make the save. The Usos came out with him. I thought this was great. It gets us back to remember that the Wyatt family are heels. As much as you like them, as much as you enjoy their work, they are heels. They're not the faces here. Whether you want John Cena to be a heel or not, he's not right now. And this is kind of the same, an old school style way to get some heat on them. Get a guy that's beloved like Jerry Lawler, attack a guy like JBL, who are considered defenseless. You know, I liked it. I thought it was a good segment. I thought it furthered the Wyatt family John Cena feud. I think has been fantastic so far. Kudos to all involved. Kudos to John for helping putting up the younger talent and getting these guys over. Next up, we had Randy Orton and Dave Bautista versus the Rhodes Brothers. Set up from a meeting in the back. We see them. They pin Cody. Then we hear that it's an elimination match. It's hardcore rules or no rules, which they just go to town beating up Goldust, pick up the win. I thought it was a good thing for the go-home show for a pay-per-view, reminding us how devastating and how impressive Evolution could be when they're working on all cylinders. I thought it was a great way to showcase them, great way to get us to buy in more for the pay-per-view coming up. Next up, we had Sin Cara versus Bo Dallas, second time they wrestled this week. I thought this was better than the match on SmackDown, Bo's debut. I love the Bo Dallas gimmick. I love the character. It's good. I can't wait to see if he can actually get it over on a big platform like the WWE. I think if anybody can, he can. I enjoy it immensely. I thought this was great. I think Sin Cara was a great wrestler to work with him. Thought it worked out good. I want to see, it leaves me wanting to see more of him. Last but not least, we have Emma versus Crazy Alicia Fox, which I guess is the name they're going with because that's what they seem to do, is just put simplistic character names. Alicia picks up the win, shows us why she's a threat to Paige's title run. Goes into her crazy post-match celebration, which I guess now is going to always have her dumping soda on herself since they put the soda under the ring for her. I like it. I like the character development of Alicia. I think she's a great wrestler. I think Emma's a good wrestler too. I like that they're actually showing decent wrestling matches with the Divas division. And like I said, even though I didn't like the other Divas match, I like that they're giving them more than one match on the show. But let me go right into our ratings since we're running a little long on this. Sorry guys, I took a week off. I'm a little long-winded coming back. You know, if you've seen the show before, we have a 1 to 5 scale. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. 1's a Great Khali, 2's a Santino Marella, 3's a Cody Rhodes, 4's a Cesaro, 5's a Daniel Bryan. I'm giving this show a 1, a Great Khali. For a go-home show for a pay-per-view, which it is, Payback is this weekend, they didn't do much to hype the pay-per-view. They put some lackluster performances together. And overall, all in all, the show left a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm giving it a 1, a Great Khali. It left a worse taste in my mouth probably than the food poisoning did the week before. And that's saying a lot. But anyway, basically that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.